finishing off with where we were on our Monday night class. So on a Monday night class, we were talking about parallel and perpendicular lines. We had answered these questions. We said that parallel lines never meet. Perpendicular lines meet at 90 degrees. If a line AB is parallel to line CD, then we say that AB, and we have those two lines in between, are parallel to CD. If line AB is perpendicular to line CD, then we say that AB, and we have that perpendicular symbol to CD. So what did we do next? We drew a line that passed through C and was parallel to DE, and we used the correct symbol to show that the lines were parallel. What is the correct symbol to show that those lines are parallel? Okay, a reminder that the correct symbol are these arrows, guys. So these arrows that are appearing in the middle of those lines show us that those lines are parallel. All right, a reminder, how did we measure that those lines were parallel to each other? We took a ruler and we measured, and we made sure that was the same distance between those two lines. Okay, and then we moved on to the next question, and we drew a line that was passed through P and was perpendicular to QR, all right? And we used the correct symbol to show that the lines were perpendicular. So for this question, we pulled out our trusty protractor there. We made a 90-degree angle, okay, and we drew our line going down. All right, now what did we need to draw to show that those lines were perpendicular? We needed to use the symbol for perpendicular. And the symbol for perpendicular is this square, or this block, some people call it. Okay, that block or that square means that, let's use this pen, means that at that angle, whoopsie daisy guys, sorry, let's try them again. All right, there we go. Okay, so that block or that square means that, all right, at that angle, that exact point that's highlighted on your screen there, okay, at that exact point, what angle is being made? What angle is being made where those two lines match up? Where those two lines match up. You can tell me in the chat. It's a right angle. Good, Umar, it's a right angle. Good, Sina, right? Good. It's a right angle, and so it is 90 degrees. Well done. So instead of writing 90 degrees, I can draw that square. Well done, guys. All right. Okay, the last question we did before everybody was logging off, or while people were logging off, is we had to draw line segments labeled FG that was 5 centimeters long and parallel and equal to another line segment that we labeled JK. So that was the last thing that we did before you guys logged off. Again, we had to show that they were parallel. How do you show that something is parallel? You need to draw this arrow. And here is the arrow. Okay, so that is what we finished off with on Monday. Okay, let's have a look and see where we are going to now for our last few questions here on parallel and perpendicular lines. The first one says to us, draw two rays. Now, guys, remember we spoke about the difference between a ray and a line segment a little while ago. Okay, so hopefully you remember that, but we're going to go over it again. So draw two rays that have the same starting point labeled C, but are perpendicular. Label the rays as CR and CS. All right. So this is a really great time for us to just take a small break and do a quick recap very quickly, okay, before we do this actual question. So let's have a look. All right. I see Umar's hand is up, and Umar, I am coming to you. I am looking, Umar, for what is a ray. Okay, Omar, your hand was up, but I think we put our hands down because we weren't taking questions at the time. Let's see, I've got some other hands up already. Okay, so, there we go. Omar, I'm going to take yours because your hand was up. Omar, do you want to tell me what is array?
Ma'am, array has no start, but it has a start but no end.
Good, thank you. It has a start but no end. Good.
And
So, has a start but no end. Thank you so much, Omar.
no
So,
problem.
Omar, do you agree, Omar, that it looks like this? So there's my start. It's a straight line, so I need to use a ruler, but I'm just doing some notes, right? And it has no end. So how do I show that it's got no end? Omar, are you still with me?
Ma'am, you use an arrow.
Good, thank you, Omar. Well done. I use an arrow. Thanks, Omar. Thank you for the help. Okay, so that's array. Then I've got a line, and I'm going to start with a line segments. Okay, and then I'm going to ask for a line. So reminder, there's two different things. There's a line segment, and then there's a line. Okay, so I am going to go for somebody who I haven't heard voice before. I'm going to go with Pearl. Pearl. Hi, Pearl.
Hi, ma'am.
Okay, Pearl, do you want to talk to me about a line segment? Pearl, what's a line segment?
A line segment has a start and no end.
So it has, okay, so be careful because I think that you're thinking of array. So I definitely agree with you that it has a start. Has a start. So I agree with you there, Pearl. So it has a start.
Yes.
Okay. And then it goes like that. And then because it's a line segment and it has
An end.
End. Good. So it does have an end. Okay. So a line segment has a start and it has an end. Pearl, does it have to have a dot on each side?
Yes.
Okay, so it's in my drawings, I've always done a dot. I agree with you. I like doing a dot. Absolutely. I think a dot's really important. So yes, I definitely think it needs a dot. But some teachers, Pearl, will say that you don't have to have a dot. I promise. Okay.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you so much. Okay, but thank you so much, Pearl. I'm happy for you to carry on drawing the dots because the dot shows that it has a start and it has an end.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Pearl. All right, and the last one, a line, just a line, guys. A line has no start or end. So a line is going to have no start. Whoopsie, sorry, guys. It's going to have no start or end. So that means that a line is going to look as follows. It's going to look like this, and it's going to have an arrow and an arrow. All right, perfect opportunity for you guys to take a screenshot, please. Go through there and take a screenshot. All right, so make sure if you haven't got all of that written down already, that you have taken a screenshot, please. Okay, because I'm going to be erasing it from my board so I can do the next question for you. All right, Mr. Hugo has put instructions on how to do a screenshot for you guys. Very kind, you guys are very lucky. In the instructions. All right, I'm going to bring my trusty protractor down with me here as well, because I'm going to need that a little bit later to do this. So let's bring the protractor down for us. All right. And I am going to give myself some space to write on. So let's get the eraser out. All right. So we are going to have a look at this question now. It says to us, draw two rays that both have the same starting point, labeled C, but that are perpendicular. Okay, so guys, I'm going to start by doing the starting points. That's where I'm going to start here. I'm going to draw my starting point over here as a dot, because like I said to you, I like doing a dot to show that my line segment or that my ray has a start or on it. And I need to label that as C. Okay. So there is C. All right. I'm going to bring my ruler down. And let's bring my pen out to get my pen. Okay, I need to draw two lines. All right. I need to go draw one that is labeled as CR, and then I need a perpendicular line that's CS. So I'm going to start with CR. So there is C. I'm going along on my ruler. I'm making a nice long line. Guys, don't make these tiny short little lines. No one can see them. Okay, your teacher wants to see a nice long line so they can see that you know what's going on. Because it's array, Umar was very kind. He told us exactly what we needed to see with array. We needed to see an arrow on the end. And I'm going to label this as R. So that is labeled as CR. Okay. Right, I'm bringing my protractor down. All right, I'm lying him flat on my line, everybody. So I'm lying the baseline is flat. My origin of my protractor is on point C. I hope you guys can see that on my screen if you're following with me, that you've got your protractor lying flat on your line CR like it is on my screen. Okay. I'm going to take my pen again, and I need to do it so it's perpendicular, okay? We said earlier on perpendicular meant 90 degrees. So I need to go from 0 all the way to 90 degrees. All right. Not making a very nice clear mark. Oh. Nope, doesn't want us to get rid of that mark. Okay, so there is my 90-degree mark. All right, I'm going to take my ruler, and again, can you see I haven't done a teeny tiny line to show that. I've done a nice long line. All right, I'm taking my ruler, I'm lining my ruler up with that point that I drew, and I'm going to rule a line, guys. So there is my nice long line. Moving my ruler out the way. Moving this protractor out the way. All right. I need to put an arrow on the end. Why am I putting an arrow? Because they told me that it was a ray. And I need to label it as S. All right. Have I got 100% for this question? It's out of 5 marks here. Here it is, out of 5 marks. Who can tell me if I've got 100% for this question? Who can tell me? Who's going to tell me? Who's going to mark with me? Who's marking with me? Hands. Where's some hands? I see some people saying no. Okay. Who's some? Okay. Tate. Hi there. Tate?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Am I saying
ma'am.
your name correctly? Tate, are you with me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hi there. Yeah. Am I saying your name correctly? Hey, as a Tate?
No, it's Tatenda.
Tatenda. Okay, Tatenda,
Yeah.
are you going to help me mark this question? Are you ready to mark with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Tatenda. All right, first of all, I don't like marking in red pen. So what color should we mark in besides red? Pick a color.
I think yellow.
Yellow. Okay, let's see if we can see yellow. Let's see. Okay, Tatenda, let's go. So the first thing that they asked me to do, okay, was they said to me that I needed to draw 2 rays that had the same starting point. So 1 mark is going to be for the starting point, Tatenda. Did I do a starting point labeled as C?
Yes, ma'am.
I did do a starting point labeled as C. Tatenda, I'm just going to change my pen just because you can't really see the yellow, unfortunately, which is really sad. Sorry. Okay, so first of all, I did a starting point and I labeled it as C. So 1 mark, 1 out of 5 so far. Well done. Okay. Next thing, all right. Did I have 2 rays? So were there 2 rays here? Tatenda, is there 2 rays? Tatenda? Okay, I think I've lost Tatenda. So guys, I'm going to carry on. I've got 2 rays, okay, and I call them CR, and I called it CS. So that gives me 3 out of 5 so far. Awesome. All right. Now, my next mark would have come from showing that these are actually rays. And how do I show that it's actually a ray? All right. I show that it's a ray by having the arrows on the end. So I would have got a mark for having the correct formats, probably, and for using a ruler. If I didn't put the labels, the arrows on the end, and I didn't use a ruler, I would have lost the mark. All right. Now, some of you already told me that I wasn't getting 100%. You guys are 100% correct there. The reason why I wasn't getting 100% is because I didn't put the square. So the last mark needs to come from drawing the square. Okay. All right, guys. Well done. Okay. Last question for this section before we move on to circles for the night. So let's have a look at our last question for this section. Right, the first thing we've got here is we've got a drawing. So that's what the drawing looks like. I've got an L, I've got an M, and I've got an N. It says, A, draw a line that's perpendicular to LM and that passes through N. So draw a line perpendicular to LM that passes through N. Okay, so I'm going to take my protractor, would be a good place to start. I'm going to place my protractor on N. I'm going to make my screen a bit bigger for you guys so you can see what I'm doing. I'm placing my protractor on N, okay, and I'm moving it the baseline so that it's sitting on that baseline. Right. The word perpendicular means 90 degrees, guys. It's very important that you remember perpendicular, parallel, perpendicular, parallel. Perpendicular means 90 degrees. So here I am. I'm going to make a point at 90 degrees, and I'm going to go and make another, well, that's the only mark I can make, unfortunately. All right. I'm moving him out the way, bringing my ruler back in here, and I am going to join up those 2 points. All right. Once I do that, I can take my ruler and my pencil and draw a line. If they've asked me to draw a line, I must really be careful about what they've asked me to draw. They asked me to draw a line. So a line has 2 arrows. They asked me to make it perpendicular. They asked me to make it perpendicular. So I need to make sure that I draw the square. Okay. I must make sure that I draw the square. Okay. It says, label your line as PN, choosing the point P so that the length of LM is the same length as PN. So my goodness, guys, there are so many instructions here tonight. So it's a really good question for us to practice and make sure that we are practicing our comprehension skills here. So it says, I need to label my line as PN. All right. Now, if you like me and how I was at school, I would have just gone and put a label on. But that's not what we need to do for maths. For maths, we must make sure we read the question completely. Choosing point P so that the length of LM, so we can go measure this length of LM. I can take my ruler, okay? I can take my ruler, right? If it lets me take my ruler, let's see. Oh, no, it doesn't want to let me use my ruler tonight, Mr. Hugo. Okay, I can take my ruler. I'm going to put my ruler on where I've got M in this line, and I can measure it. And when I measure this line, I get 4,8, 4,7, 4,8 centimeters. Okay, so when I measure that line, I get 4,8 centimeters. All right, so I'm going to take my ruler now, and I'm going to move it over to this side. All right, I'm going to line it up. And I'm going to go find the same measurement now. So it was sitting over here. Move my ruler out the way. And so there is my point P. Okay, so comprehension, it's not just for English, it's also for maths. Now it says join points P and L to form a rectangle. So now it wants us to join these points up. So let's go try that. So the next thing we need to do is we need to join points P and L to form a rectangle. Can you guys see that the whole time I have not used freehanding once? I have used my ruler and my pencil. Right. Please, guys, make sure that when you are doing geometry, you've got a ruler and you have a pencil. Give two pairs of parallel lines in the diagrams and add symbols to the diagram to show this. So, which lines? Tell me in the chat if you feel too scared to lift your hand, okay? But which lines, guys, are going to be parallel now? Which lines are going to be parallel? Which ones are going to be parallel? Okay. All right. I think I had here Kota. Kota, I think you were the first one with your hand up. How are you?
Didn't you?
I'm good. Kota, tell me, which lines are parallel?
The lines that I think are parallel are N and P.
So, would you agree that they are MN, so this one, and L?
Yes.
Like that. Perfect. Well done. Thank you, Kota. All right. So it's that one and that one. Thank you so much for your help. Well done. All right. So there are my two parallel lines. Okay. Indicate all right angles in the diagram with the correct symbols. So indicate all the right angles. Well, we know that that one is a right angle because we went and measured it. And guys, I'm going to help you out here. When we go and we measure this angle, it's also going to be 90 degrees. And that angle as well. All of those angles will be 90 degrees. Okay, and so that takes us to the end of parallel and perpendicular lines that we needed to finish from Monday. Let's go have a look at circles, everybody. Let's go have a look at circles. So we are starting on our journey through circles. The first thing that we need to do is we need to label all parts of the circle below. So I need you guys to help me out, all right? I need you to help me label all parts of the circle below. Now, I know that a lot of you like to do this and you've been waiting for this lesson. So let's have a look. All right. Let us have a look. Okay, guys, I am reminding you to please stick to maths in the maths chat. I see that there is a student who is asking for her question to be answered, but I don't see a question that was asked by you in the chat. So please, can you make sure that you send your question in the chat? Mr. Hugo, it looks like she direct messaged me. Unfortunately, I can't go back and find that question. You need to send your questions in the actual chat or to Mr. Hugo, guys. Okay, you definitely can't be sending me messages while we are teaching. All right, just like Mr. Hugo explained. Okay, so let's go with somebody who has not spoken tonight. So I see here I've got iPhone Satole. Hello. You are unmuted. And now you muted yourself. Hello, you are unmuted. Hi. What's your name?
My name is Nomfundo.
Hi, Nomfundo. How are you?
I'm good and you, ma'am.
I'm good. Nomfundo, are you going to help me label this circle?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, are you ready, Nomfundo? I'm going to highlight and you're going to tell me what they call. So, first of all, Nomfundo, this green one that I've just highlighted. What is that one called?
The radius.
Well done. The radius. Well done. The radius. So, thanks, Nomfundo. Thank you so much. All right. So, guys, the radius. Okay. Yeah. My goodness me. Let's try again. This writing tonight. So, the radius goes from the center to the circumference. And the word circumference is just a very fancy way of saying the outside. All right. So I'm looking for somebody to help me next. All right. And I am looking for this blue. I'm looking for the blue. Okay, I'm looking for the blue. Somebody to help me with. Let's go, Tara Jane. We have not heard from you tonight. How are you, Tara Jane?
I'm good and you, ma'am.
I'm good. Tara Jane, which one is the blue line called?
I think it's the diameter.
Amazing. Well done. Guys, I hope you are redrawing this drawing on your page. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's a really good drawing. Thanks, Tara Jane. Tell me, Tara Jane, can you describe the diameter to me? So I said the radius went from circle, from center to circumference. What about the diameter?
The diameter splits the top half and the bottom half of the circle.
Amazing. So it splits the top half and the bottom half. Perfect. It splits it in half. Hey, well done.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. And we can also say the diameter goes from one end of the circumference through the center to the other end. All right. So it splits the circle in half. That's perfect. From the top and the bottom, that's perfect. But also, it goes from one end of the circumference through the center of the circle to the other end. Okay. All right. We are now looking for the yellow bits, and you can see that it's got like an arrow pointing to it there. So the yellow bit that's got an arrow pointing to it. Mulalo. Mulalo, do you want to help me out here?
Yes, Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Mulalo, talk to me. What is the
Hi, ma'am.
arrow pointing at?
It's the center point of the
Well
circle.
done. Nice. And that one was so easy. So do you want to help me out with the last one? The one that's missing.
Yes, ma'am.
What's this
Yes,
fancy one
ma'am.
called on the outside? It's a very long, fancy word. What is it?
It's a circumference.
Amazing.
Circumference.
Well done. Well done. What's it the fancy word for? Do you know? What's the outside of a shape normally called?
What?
What's the outside of a shape? What do we normally call like the outside of a shape? Like if you're in a square and the outside around the square.
Is it the area?
Close. So the area is the inside, but well done. It's the perimeter, hey?
Oh, oh.
That's right. So the circumference, that's cool, don't stress. The circumference is just the fancy way of saying another word for a circle's perimeter. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Mulalo. Thanks for your help. All right. So there we go. I hope that you guys have that drawn out, okay, so that you can keep that or you can take a screenshot of that. All right. But make sure that you have it there for yourselves. Okay. All right. Have we got that written out? Okay. Guys, remember for this section, when you're making these notes, you don't need to go and draw a perfect circle with a compass. What I would go and do is I would go find a circle. So go to the kitchen, all right, go get a glass, go get a mug, go get the tomato sauce bottle and use that and just make a circle so that you can practice and make some notes. All right. Okay, so a reminder here as well, let's make a note about the word circumference. Circumference is the perimeter of a circle. All right, circumference is the word for perimeter of a circle. All right, guys. All right, I still see a few hands up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Mr. Hugo if we can just drop the hands quickly. And then I just want to see if anyone's got any questions about this section. So does anyone have any questions about this drawing before we move on? Anyone have any questions about this drawing? Okay, Lorena, what's up? Talk to me.
I just want to make sure the radius is how big the circle is, right? Like in the inside.
So the radius is the distance from the center of the circle, from this point, the center, to the outside edge.
Okay.
Okay, so if you had to take, so Lauren, if you had to go and take your ruler and you had to measure from anywhere in the center to the edge, it'll be exactly the same each time. That's the radius.
Okay.
All right, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good, well done. All right, Unati, I see your hands up. Unati, do you have a question about this drawing?
Yes, ma'am.
What's up, Unati?
So, ma'am, I had my network was bad, ma'am. So I'm confused what's going on, ma'am. Can you just quickly explain to me, ma'am?
Explain to you the drawing that's on the page now. So we're looking at a circle.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're just looking at all the different points that are named in the circle. So the first one we looked at was radius, and radius goes from the center point to the edge. Okay. Then we looked at diameter. A diameter went from one end to the other end. So if we took a ruler and we measured it. Then we looked at what is the center. The center is the point in the middle of the circle. And finally, we looked at the last word, which is circumference. And circumference is the word for the perimeter on the outside of the circle. That's all we've looked at so far. Okay. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, guys, one more point that we need to look at quickly is that if the radius, right, is the distance from the center to the edge of the circle, then what about the diameter? What do we know about the diameter? Could we maybe say that the diameter, so D for diameter, is equal to the radius plus another radius. So if we had to put two radiuses together, would it be the same thing as saying the diameter? Have a look at that. This radius that's on my screen, if we had to double it up, would it be a diameter? Yes, it would, hey? All right. So what I want to do is I want to move this down a little bit, and I see I still have a few questions there. I'm going to answer those while people are answering these few fill-in-the-blank questions. All right, Mulalo, I see your hand is up. Do you have a question for me?
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to ask if like there's more parts of the circle that we didn't learn about.
Yes, so there will be different parts. So there'll be a thing called an arc. So an arc is like a piece of the outside. Sometimes we get something called a segment as well. But all those different things you don't really need to know in grade 7. Your teacher might teach you extra bits of the circle in grade 7, but you will most probably learn them in grade 8.
Okay.
Okay, have you
Thank
learned
you.
some more of them in class or not?
No,
No.
we
Okay.
didn't yet start this topic.
This
so
topic. How amazing is it you're going to do this topic and you're going to be like head of the class? You know everything already. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to answer one more question and then we're going to look at the fill in the blanks. Jenna, do you have a question for me?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I just wanted
What's
to
up?
ask with the circle, if the diameter it's going from side to side on your drawing, can it go from top to bottom and still be a diameter?
Of course it can, as long as, Jen, that it goes through the center. So it can go from side to side, absolutely, but it has to go through the center to be a diameter.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, no problem. All right, so let's have a look. It says, fill in the missing words about circles. The something of a circle is always the same distance from the center to the outside edge. So outside edge, the fancy word for outside edge is known as the circumference. So who's going to tell me the what of a circle is always the same distance? The what? Just muted myself, whoopsie. Okay, let's go Boitamelo. Boitamelo, are you answering the question with me? Boitamelo, you should be able to unmute yourself. All right. Hey, I don't think, okay, but I'm seeing lots of people telling me in the chat, well done, guys, you are right. It is the radius. So the radius of a circle is always the same distance from the center to the edge. When you see those words circle, center, and edge, you know you're dealing with a radius. All right. Somebody's asking, how do we measure a circle? So how do you measure a circle? Well, when you draw a circle, we're going to use a compass, and we're going to learn how to do that in Monday night's lesson using a compass. All right, and we use a ruler. So we're going to use a compass and a ruler, and we're going to learn how to do that on Monday. All right. Number B, the outside edge of a circle is also known as, we saw just now, it's also known as a circumference. Okay, and we also say that it could also be called a perimeter, hey? And finally, the longest line you can draw across a circle will always pass through the, all right, somebody did ask me just now, good, well done. Will always pass through the center of the circle, and it's called the, what's the longest line that passes through the center, guys? Passes through the center, well done. It's known as the diameter. Well done, grade 7s. You guys were on fire tonight. You are handling geometry so well. For online lessons and doing geometry, I am really, really proud of you guys. You are engaging well. You are asking questions. I'm really, really proud of you guys. So Mr. Hugo is going to put the quiz up for you guys. So the link, okay, for the quiz. In the meantime, if there is anybody else that may have a question, I am going to stay online and answer one or two more questions. I see that Boitamelo raised their hand again, so I'm going to try to get to that question. Otherwise, have a wonderful evening. If you don't have any questions, go and do the quiz, and we will see you guys on Monday. Thanks so much, guys. All right. Unati, what is your question, Unati?
Oh,
Unati, are
sorry,
you there?
ma'am.
That's okay. You have a question?
No, ma'am. I forgot
No
to put my
question.
hand down.
I just thought you wanted to chat to me. Okay, fine. Bye, Unati.
Bye, ma'am.
Okay, Jabulile. Jabulile, do you have a question for me?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, how can I help?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask if we're gonna learn about the two other parts that I know. I think they called the sector and the code. I'm not sure.
So a sector and a chord, we can go through them for everybody else, but those aren't ones that we really have to know for our study for what we're doing now. When we move on to the study of 2D shapes, which is the next section, we're going to go through it then.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't want to like tell everybody everything there is to know about circles, because you know what happens when a teacher tells you like every single thing there is to know about a shape. What happens to your brain?
It gets confused.
Absolutely, it gets confused, it goes on overload, it's like, oh my gosh, what is happening? So we don't want to do that. So we're going to do everything that we need to know for this section, and then in the next section then we'll learn a little bit more about circles. Okay,
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
but thank you for the question, Jabulile.
Okay, ma'am.
All right, and my last question for tonight, I've got Shakina. Shakina, how can I help? Hi, Shakina.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, how can I help?
So, ma'am, I wanted to know how much is an arc? Like you said, it was a piece, right?
Yeah. So Shakina,
So
an
is
arc
it a
could be.
piece going all the way?
So let me draw and grab another page here quick. And then I'm gonna see whether I can get my maths tool. All right, so if this is a circle, hey? So here's my circle. All right, so that's a full circle. Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's a full circle. So now, if I want to just draw an arc, okay, let's see if I can move him without disturbing him. If I want to just draw an arc of that circle, then an arc can literally just be that. So that's an arc. Do you see it's not the full circle? Okay, it's not closed off.
So just all the way up to the center, from the radius to the center. Sorry, the diameter.
It's from, yeah, pretty much from the center to the edge. It's like just this piece. So this is actually what the arc is. Let me highlight them for you. An arc would be this. This is what an arc is. You see them? It's like the the outside edge. It's like a piece of the circumference. Okay. Thanks, Shakina.